What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the channel. Today I got some big things planned for Mad Max. So I've had lots of votes on Instagram to black out the front grills of Mad Max. So I'm going to start with the lower chrome grill. I'm going to black that out. This way it's cleaner on the bottom. The chrome doesn't distract from everything else since everything else in the truck is black. Might as well get rid of that. It'll look a lot better. And then I'll work my way up to the top grill. However, I think I'm going to leave the GMC letters in red because all blacked out with those red letters I think would look good. If it doesn't, I can always black that out as well. Before I get to removing the front grill or the lower front grill and blacking it out. So before I get to blacking out the lower front grill, I want to talk about some things that are different about a Duramax than say a Super Duty or a Ram. So GM trucks are quite different than the Super Duties or the Rams as they don't have a solid front axle. It's independent front on the GM trucks, as well as torsion bar setup, whereas the Super Duties and Rams have coilover or springs, which is completely different. You have to understand how the torsion bar setup and torsion keys work, as well as having an independent front. You can jack up the front end of a Super Duty or a Ram, and the only thing you really got to worry about is centering the solid axle and a few other things. So with the GM front end, you have to worry about your CV axles. So as you can see, I've got mine turned almost all the way up on my BDS kit. You'll notice even though I've got it this far up, the control arm angle is almost perfect. Very neutral angle here on the upper control arm. All you got to worry about is the droop stop over here, which prevents downward travel. Some people say my angles are really poor, but if you look, you'll see that the axles have a slight drop to them. It's really not that bad. You know, there's guys out there that are very much perfectionists that want their angles perfectly straight. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, having a perfectly straight CV axle, and there's definitely nothing wrong with having the angles the way I have them. The thing is, you want to prevent binding on a CV axle. Having a slight angle is definitely okay. Some guys swear that it's not. Over all the years I've worked on cars, I've had all-wheel drive BMWs, Durangos, I've had rear-wheel drive trucks in cars, front-wheel drive cars, everything. And I can tell you that as long as the CV axles aren't too extreme, they won't cause vibrations or wear out. My angles are probably the limit of where you'd want to go in the safe green zone, so to speak. You could probably go a little further and not cause any damage, but that's pointless. I think they're perfect the way they are right now, but there's no problem with my angles. If you have a BDS lifted truck and you're worried about the angles, BDS has said to me over the phone multiple times when we've talked about the lift kit that you definitely are going to be okay using the 6.5 inch lift on your Duramax and cranking it to the 6.5 inches. Your angles are naturally going to have a little bit of a drop on the CV and of course the tie rods. And the reason for this is most kits out there, including Cognito, they drop the differential pretty much the whole amount you're lifting the truck, so you have straight CV axles. But the problem is you're not gaining any ground clearance, and that's the whole idea of the BDS kit, is they want the differential to have a little bit of extra room so you can go off-roading in the truck. Hence the reason why they raise the truck 6.5 inches and only drop the differential 4.5 inches. So essentially it'd be like doing a 2-inch front leveling kit with no adapters on the CV axles, which is really not bad at all. In fact, most places you buy a leveling kit for your GM truck, if it's at the 2 inches or less, you don't have to do anything with the CV axles as it's not going to cause any wear or any harm. It's only 2 inches. That's why BDS designed it like this. So if anybody's out there saying you got a BDS kit, saying your axles are a really bad angle or they're not quite correct, that's the way BDS designed it, and as long as you're not hitting the droop stop on your upper control arms, you're good. So I recommend getting aftermarket control arms, even though I didn't, as you won't hit the droop stop. You'll get the full 6.5 inches of lift, and your angles will be perfectly fine and acceptable. That's the way BDS designed the kit. But I just figured I'd mention that, so if anybody's got a BDS kit, that's basically how it's supposed to be. If you have a GM truck and you're going with a lift kit, especially the BDS kit, I highly recommend getting aftermarket upper control arms, whether that be Kryptonite, Cognito, Ready Lift, doesn't matter. I would definitely get a set of upper control arms. That's definitely the next mod for the truck, or the next serious mod that I'm going to be doing. But as you can see right here, I'm getting ready to take off the lower front grille and black it out and clean the front bumper. I'm going to clean up the black plastic behind it, as well as rust preventing and sealing the tow hooks up front. And once I do that, I'll get it put back in. Everything should be clean and beautiful on the bottom and blacked out. There'll be no distraction. The whole bottom end will be black. I really don't like the bottom chrome grille. I don't mind the top one. I think the top looks great, but the bottom was never a fan of anyway. I am going to leave the lettering here red because I think red on a black grille would look good, but we're about to find out. Another thing that I definitely want to mention is, unlike Ford or Ram, GM has square wheel wells, which means the only way you're going to truly fit 35s is with a 6-inch lift. So if you get a lift kit that's only 4 or 5 inches, or you get a BDS 6.5-inch lift like this and set it to 4 or 5, you're going to rub on the back inner portion of the fender. So if you were to cut out all this plastic portion back here, you're going to have to remove some of the steel, which is pinch welded to the fender. And once you remove that, there's nothing behind it, and everything's going to flap loosely as there's nothing to hold that down. Some guys say they like to tap it with a hammer and bang it back, but I don't want to do that. Mine was rubbing until I lifted the front end. So the only way to prevent that from happening is to cut it, bang it back, or lift it properly, or the final option that nobody's going to want to hear, run 33s or 34s. The only way you're going to get a 35 tire on a GM and not rub and not have to bang or cut anything is to have at least a 6-inch lift. It's the only way, because the wheel wells are square. As far as the front, you're going to have to do a little trimming like I did, and I removed the lower valance from down here. You're going to have to cut out probably about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch here at an angle, file it down smooth. Pretty much that goes for all GM trucks, but that's not a problem. It's just a little bit of plastic. You can always replace this if you ever went back to stock. But that's not really a problem because this is plastic and it's easy to cut, but you're not going to have to mess with the fender or the plastic liner on the backside, as if you're lifted properly, a 35 will clear. If you want to go with 37s or maybe even 38s with a GM, a 6-inch lift is not enough. You're going to be doing some serious cutting unless the offset of the wheel isn't too aggressive. At -44 like I'm running, there's absolutely no way you're going to get a 37 on here. You got to be very careful on what you choose. If you're going with an 8 to 10 inch Cognito or anything that's over 8 inches, you could get a 37 with an aggressive offset, but you're still going to have to trim. There's just no way you'll get 37s with an aggressive offset on a 6-inch lift, which is why I went with 35s, but there's no way you're going to get 37s with just a 6-inch lift with an aggressive offset on a GM because of the square wheel wells, which I do love. It hinders the ability to run big tires with lower lift kits like 3 or 4 or 5 inches. So here I am, day number 2. I finished blacking out the grill on the bottom. You guys couldn't see it well because it was nighttime while I was filming. So take a look at it during the day. The bottom grill looks awesome. We're gonna do the front grill right now. I'm gonna be using some rust reformer to cover over the surface rust I have in the fender liners, and then I'm going to be working on blacking out the grill. I am also going to be painting the exhaust with a high temp flat black paint because I wanna get rid of that eyesore. It's got some surface rust on it as well, and I want everything to be nice and clean. I'm working on all that over the next couple of days. I think it's gonna look badass. So the only problem with 35 is, you can see it still rubs a little bit on the front bumper. And you'll see it touches right about there, but then when you turn even sharper, it stops touching. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that off right now, trim it, this way it'll fit better. Okay, back to the right. Good, nothing. So I just finished spraying with rust reformer. You can see all the frame on this side is done and it looks fantastic. You can look in here. Everything is absolutely spotless. I think it looks so good. Even down there where the steering rack is. I don't know if you can see down there, but the steering rack has all been cleaned up that area as well. And this is the side I haven't done yet, so you can clearly see the difference. And over here as well. Looks so much better on the side that I finished up. So you can see the frame going across and the exhaust is just full of rust. I've definitely got to take care of this as it's an eyesore, if you ask me. It all needs to be coated. So I'm going to do the exhaust now, and the frame little by little is going to get done. So as you can see, it's done. I sealed everything with Rust-Oleum Rust Performer as well as VHT high temp exhaust paint, which is good for up to 1500 degrees. It's basically used on headers, so it's gonna get a lot hotter than the exhaust will, so everything should be good. So I'm gonna show you guys what the other side of the truck looks like. You can see it looks like crap. So I'm just taking it one step at a time, like I said. And then if we go over here and look at the passenger front that hasn't been touched yet, we're just scraping off the loose rust as we speak. Go to the other side right here. You will see how fantastic it looks. Absolutely spotless on Mad Max. I'm getting all the rust taken care of. Even going to be removing the BDS plates on the bottom, getting way up under the truck and spraying everything and sealing it out. GM from the factory puts this rubberized type glue coating on the truck, and you got to scrape it off to get it completely off the frame. But I don't recommend doing that. I've realized that's a waste of time. As long as the loose rust flakes are off and everything's clean, the paint will stick to that and seal it in, which is really good to keep it on there as it actually prevents rust. So it's actually pretty good for the truck because anywhere there's the rubberized glue type sealant or rubberized undercoating that GM has got in place from the factory, there isn't any rust there. So I just knocked off all the rust, sprayed it with the Rust Reformer and went right over the rubberized coating, and everything's hard as a rock and sealed now. So now everything's dry and sealed, everything looks good. I'm gonna basically be doing one step at a time. We're gonna start blacking out this grill as well because the bottom one's blacked out. Trying to get the truck completely spotless, and again, you can see how much different it looks here. There is quite a bit of rust on this frame, surface rust, but you can see the exhaust is now blacked out. You can't even really see it anymore. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. And then of course I'm gonna have to use Rust Reformer on the front and rear calipers as well as the rear axle. So by the time this is all said and done, it'll have taken me 10 cans of paint to get this done right. So as you guys can see, I got the bumper, the grill, and the cover off. This is what it looks like. Everything is pretty much removed so that I can paint the grill and black it out. You do have to remove the bumper and the grill to get this job done properly. That's what I've done. And then next I got to replace a bulb in the headlight, and it's getting dark, so hopefully we're going to be done before sundown. I sound like it's a Western on Gary Cooper or something, right? Gary Cooper and
oh, I know.
Sundown and shit.
Yeah. Old Westerns. Clint Eastwood Western, you know, more like.
Yeah, before sundown, like Gary Cooper, John Wayne. Yeah, we got to get this stuff done before sundown. We only, yeah, we have to ride into the sunset. But we're going to try to get this done, and if it's dark, we'll come back and show it to you when we're finished. And if it's too dark in the next video, guys, you'll see it a lot better. But I think it's going to look pretty badass, so let's get to it. Third day, finally finished blacking out the front grille, and it looks fucking awesome. Check this out. All I have to do now is finish installing the top portion, which is blacked out. However, I had to fix one of the tabs that broke, so I'm gonna reinstall this now, and then it's completed. I think it looks great. So I left the red lettering in. It was kind of a pain in the ass if you ask me, but it was worth it. It looks great. If I get sick of it, I'll just black that out as well. So what do you guys think? Do you like how I left the red lettering on the black grille, or do you think I should have blacked it all out? Right now, I'm digging the red lettering. So a new mod arrived today for Mad Max, and I'm gonna show my brother, he's right here. It is massive. Check this out. This is one massive tip. Let's see if you guys can guess what size I went with before I tell you. Leave your comments below. What size tip do you think this is for Mad Max? It's a bolt-on, flat black. Like it better than the chrome. I thought chrome would have looked good, but since everything else is blacked out, it makes sense. What do you think? Look at the size of that. Wait, I could put it on your head.
Oh no, my crown won't fit.
It's crazy. It's huge. What do you guys think? How big is that? If I was to video just the tip, it wouldn't look big, but comparison to how big our heads are, you can see how big this tip is.
I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with 12.
Oh, yeah, right. But let's go ahead and start heading over to the store so we can get the reciprocating saw to cut and mark this exhaust and get this tip installed, and I think it's going to look pretty badass. So when I removed this upper portion of the grill on Mad Max, the tabs on the left and right side broke. As you can see, getting up close, it basically came right off. So right here up close, you can see that I've used some epoxy to get the studs back in place so that I can bolt the grill up. Really kind of sucks that they both broke off. This stuff can hold 3,700 pounds or PSI. So it's really, really strong stuff. You'd have to use a hammer and pliers and a knife to get that off, which is what you want when you're bolting panels together. Quick merch plug, go to DrivewayDemons.com, get your Driveway Demons key tags. Mopar, no car, flip it over to the other side. Driveway Demons, check them out, DrivewayDemons.com. So as you guys can see, the tip came out perfect. It sounds a lot louder. You can say it's almost like a trumpet or a horn, like a musical instrument, as it amplifies the sound. As the tip is so big, it does make it noticeably louder, and at full throttle, it's definitely a lot louder. As you can see, guys, we finished the grill with the red lettering, and the black goes perfectly, and black and red always go well together. I think it looks absolutely amazing. What do you guys think? But that's gonna do it for this video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, blacking out the grill as well as putting on the 8-inch black tip. And of course, getting rid of all the rust that I showed you guys that was under the truck. I got more videos coming up, so stay tuned for those big things coming with the truck and the Hellcat. Gonna have a lot of fun. Definitely share this channel with everyone, especially people who love Hellcats, Mopar, and diesel trucks. Thank you so much for all you guys' support. I'm about to break 17,000 subscribers. By the time I post this, I probably will have broken 17,000. 20,000, here we come. For all my returning subscribers, thanks so much for watching all my videos. But until the next video, take care and have a great day.